Listen, if you're a CTO, an IT director, or a hiring manager, you've absolutely felt this specific kind of pain. You invest heavily in this massive, incredibly complex IT system, and then, what, a year later? Literally nobody on your team actually knows how to use it. It is the ultimate infrastructure headache, right? Technology that just ends up creating way more problems than it ever solves. But what if the person who built your system actually took full ownership of the outcome? Well, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're opening up the dynamic portfolio of Peter, or Pedro, Ruz. He is a seasoned principal solutions architect and operations director who basically takes the absolute messiest tech integrations you can imagine and turns them into beautifully streamlined, fully adopted solutions. Okay, let's dive right into this. Peter's core philosophy pretty much tells you everything you need to know about his workflow. He says, I design, ship, and run complex systems. Then I train your team and stick around to make sure it works in the real world. And this isn't just about plugging in some servers or writing a few lines of code. No way. Peter is making a rock-solid guarantee here. He doesn't just build this mysterious black box and walk away. He builds the whole shebang, and then he actually empowers your real human workforce to run it. So, here is our agenda for this visual resume. We're going to hit 6 key areas. First, meeting Peter. Second, designing complex IT systems. Third, his proven engagement model. Fourth, undeniable proof of his impact. Fifth, using tech as a bridge. And finally, why he should be your next IT solution. All right, Section 1, Meet Architect Peter Ruz. Curiosity meets execution. Let's look at his background. So Peter's foundation is definitely not your standard IT background story. Growing up, he used to literally read entire sets of encyclopedias cover to cover. I mean, if he hit a word he didn't recognize, he'd just chase it right down through another volume. That kind of relentless curiosity translated into a really highly disciplined early life. We're talking Boy Scouts, search and rescue, and aeronautics with the Civil Air Patrol, and even serving as an engineer and medic in the U.S. Army. Eventually, technology became the canvas where all of these different disciplines collided. It's a mindset forged by a totally unique blend of rigid structure, creative problem solving, and just flawless execution. Moving right along to Section 2, designing complex IT systems, the technical pillars. Now, what's really interesting about this is the massive breadth of his expertise. It's like a giant puzzle, and he knows how all the pieces fit. His core competencies cover AI phone systems and intelligent voice routing, identity and single sign-on using Azure and Google Workspace, incredibly complex multi-site infrastructure, rigorous security and compliance, and high-end collaboration and video spaces. And here's the kicker. He doesn't just use these tools the old-fashioned way. Peter aggressively utilizes AI as a multiplier. He uses it to automate all those tedious, repetitive tasks, which totally frees him up to focus on the big picture, high-level architecture, system resilience, and actual hands-on training for your staff. And honestly, what's truly remarkable here is the scale at which he operates. It's wild. On one hand, you've got his Fortune 500 and massive enterprise work. We're talking about leading national point-of-sale cutovers for literally thousands of Chico's FAS stores overnight, or delivering the end-to-end infrastructure for UFIT gyms, supporting roughly 1 million members at their peak. But then contrast that with his targeted community work, where he scales those exact same enterprise-grade solutions all the way down for nonprofits and local schools. It just shows this incredible versatility, He can scale up for the enterprise and scale down for the community without missing a beat. So how on earth does he actually pull off these massive deployments without the usual IT drama? That brings us to Section 3. A proven engagement model, the playbook. Here is his 5-step playbook. It starts with discovery, where he really digs in and maps out your constraints and workflows. Then comes architecture, where he sketches the absolute smallest, leanest solution that'll actually move the needle for you. No over-engineering here. Next is the pilot to prove it works fast, followed by the rollout and finally operate. Because remember, he doesn't just build it, he stays through adoption to support it under an SLA or to co-manage it directly with your team. And baked right into that rollout phase is his teaching model: build, document, train, handover, and stabilize. This is where so many IT projects fail. Actually, scratch that. It's where they completely fall apart. But Peter thrives here. When he finishes a project, your system admins get detailed runbooks and standard operating procedures. And everyday users, they get how-to guides written in their own plain words. The big takeaway here is simple but crucial. He never abandons a project. He stands it up, and he stands behind it. So the crucial point is, it's one thing to have a great philosophy, but what about the hard evidence? Let's check out Section 4, Undeniable Proof of Impact, the receipts. Let's start right at the foundation. Notice the dates on his verified CompTIA A+ and Network Plus certifications, 1999. That establishes a really deep, long-standing expertise in network operations. I mean, he has been in the trenches since the days of dial-up and ISDN, adapting and leading through literally every major technological shift we've seen over the last 2 decades. Building on that, we have his status as a Microsoft Certified Systems Engineer and, importantly, a Microsoft Certified Trainer. This totally validates exactly what we were just talking about. Peter doesn't just possess the engineering chops to execute complex builds. He actually holds the verified credentials to educate your workforce on how to use them properly. Now let's look at what the people he's actually worked with have to say. This is a letter from Hank Laws, the president of New Horizons Computer Learning Center. Get this. Peter started there as a student to formalize his credentials, right? But he absorbed the material so efficiently that he quickly became an instructor and then got promoted to facilities manager, handling their ever-changing network environment. Hank Laws flat out writes that Peter is one of the most knowledgeable computer professionals I have ever known. That's high praise. And here's another solid receipt from his time as IT director at NRC Electronics. Under the direct supervision of Eric Eisen, Peter was tasked with migrating a legacy mainframe to a Linux and Windows hybrid environment across international locations, Puerto Rico, Ireland, the whole bit. And in his 3 years in that role, he never missed a single deadline. He regularly brought massive networking projects in, well below budget and way ahead of schedule. Oh, and this one brilliantly illustrates his ability to handle just staggering scale and complexity. In 2007, Peter was contracted by the chief biomedical engineer at Jackson Memorial Hospital, which is a major U.S. teaching hospital, to design and build a total maintenance and tracking software system. He seamlessly deployed a system capable of tracking and maintaining service records for over 23,000 pieces of critical biomedical equipment. To put that in perspective, that is a monumental logistical nightmare, but he managed every single aspect, from the design right down to training the clinical staff, and yep, you guessed it, coming in under cost and ahead of deadlines. We're going to wrap up this proof section with a quote from Mario Costa, a partner at Infinite Personal Possibilities. For 15 years, Peter was their primary IT consultant in the highly sensitive field of behavioral analysis. In that field, data integrity is literally everything. Mario highlights Peter's unparalleled reliability over a decade and a half, specifically praising his rare combination of technical brilliance and his unique ability to communicate complex concepts so the team could actually, understand them. Let's move to and see how this builds into his current mission. Section 5, Tech as a Bridge, Lifting Communities. After decades of building Fortune 500 infrastructure, Peter is now taking that elite, high-level knowledge and channeling it straight into community uplift. He basically operates on this simple premise. Technology should be a bridge to prosperity, not a barrier. So through his work as Principal Solutions Architect at Cloud Onsite Technologies and as Project Director for the nonprofit Brownsville Business Development Group, he is out there actively democratizing world-class tools. He provides enterprise-grade cloud and AI infrastructure to nonprofits and educational institutions that would normally be completely priced out of this kind of transformative tech. And the real-world impact here, it's just phenomenal. I mean, he offers free solo basic tech plans for verified nonprofits. He helps run drone schools down in Texas and Mexico. He even stepped in at local universities like Universidad Tecnológica de Matamoros and Kennesaw State University Robotics and salvaged a hands-on project using smart tooling for about $500. The traditional vendors had quoted them millions of pesos for the same thing. He is out there literally turning campuses into real-world innovation hubs. Which finally brings us to the climax of this explainer. Section 6, Your Next IT Solution, the Outcome Owner. If you are a hiring manager, a CTO, or an IT director watching this, and you have real infrastructure needs, we need to talk about outcomes. Here is exactly why teams hire Peter, and honestly, why they keep him around for years. First up, clarity. He cuts right through the noise and designs the minimal path to value. Second, calm delivery. Whether it's national retail rollouts, tracking 23,000 hospital machines, or wiring entire stadiums, there is zero drama, just receipts. Third, ownership. If your system breaks at 2 a.m. during go-live, he is going to be right there in the trenches with you. And finally, transfer of skill. Your team will actually own the system after he leaves. And that is completely by design. So, what does this all mean for you? I'll leave you with this provocative question. Are you ready to bring your IT pain to a builder who actually owns the outcome? Bring Peter your messiest integrations. Bring him your single sign-on pileups, your disconnected multi-site networks, and your teams that desperately need training that will actually stick. Peter Ruz will give you a clear plan, honest trade-offs, and he will absolutely own the outcome with you. That is the true power of hiring an architect who doesn't just build, but teaches and sustains. Thank you so much for joining us for this explainer, and we will catch you next time.